Amaka, a skilled Igbo caterer, was hired to cook for the prestigious wedding of Chukwuemeka and Naoma. Unbeknownst to the couple and their guests, Amaka harbored a dark secret. She had been using her own urine as a key ingredient in her cooking, believing it added a unique flavor and aroma. As the big day approached, Amaka's kitchen buzzed with activity. She expertly prepared the traditional Igbo dishes, including egusi soup and jollof rice. But amidst the sizzling and simmering, she discreetly added her special ingredient to the pots. Meanwhile, the wedding guests began to arrive, eager to indulge in Amaka's culinary delights. Chukwuemeka's uncle, a notorious food critic, boasted that he could detect even the subtlest flaws in cooking. Naoma's mother, a devout Christian, prayed that the food would be a blessing to their families. As the first dishes were served, the guests marveled at the flavors and textures. Amaka smiled knowingly, confident that her secret ingredient had once again worked its magic. But little did she know, a keen-eyed food blogger, Chinaza, had noticed something peculiar in the soup. Chinaza's eyes narrowed as she took another sip of the egusi soup. She couldn't quite place the unusual flavor, but it was unmistakable. She discreetly pulled out her phone and snapped a photo of the soup, making a mental note to investigate further. As the night wore on, the guests continued to rave about Amaka's cooking. Chukwuemeka and Naoma exchanged their vows, and the celebration reached its peak. But Chinaza's curiosity lingered, and she found herself glancing at Amaka with growing suspicion. Just as the reception was winding down, Chinaza mustered the courage to approach Amaka. "Your food is incredible," she said, her voice laced with a hint of accusation. "But I have to ask, what's your secret ingredient?" Amaka's smile faltered for a moment before she regained her composure. "Oh, it's just a little something I learned from my mother," she replied, her eyes darting around the room. Chinaza's eyes locked onto Amaka's, her mind racing with possibilities. She knew she had to uncover the truth, but Amaka's secrets seemed to run deeper than she had initially thought. Amaka's gaze drifted toward the kitchen, where her assistants were busy cleaning up. Chinaza followed her line of sight and noticed a small, mysterious container hidden behind a stack of pots. "Excuse me," Chinaza said, her voice firm but polite. "I need to ask you something else. What's in that container?" Amaka's eyes snapped back to Chinaza, a flicker of panic dancing across her face. "Oh, it's just, a special spice blend," she stammered. Chinaza's eyes narrowed. "At this hour? And hidden away like that?" Without waiting for a response, Chinaza strode towards the kitchen, her heels clicking on the tile floor. Amaka darted after her, but Chinaza was too quick. She snatched the container and held it up to the light, her heart racing with anticipation. The label read, "Amaka's special ingredient," in faded letters. Chinaza's eyes widened as she unscrewed the lid, a pungent aroma wafting out. Suddenly, the truth hit her like a ton of bricks. Chinaza's eyes widened in horror as she realized the true nature of Amaka's secret ingredient. She felt a wave of nausea wash over her, and her mind raced with the implications. "Amaka, what have you done?" Chinaza demanded, her voice shaking with disgust. This is unbelievable." Amaka's face crumpled, and she took a step back, her eyes darting around the kitchen as if searching for an escape route. "Please, Chinaza, you have to understand." But Chinaza cut her off, her voice rising in outrage. "Understand? How can I understand something so vile? You've been serving this to people, to children, to the wedding guests." The kitchen staff froze, their eyes fixed on the unfolding drama. Chukwuemeka and Naoma, oblivious to the chaos, continued to dance and celebrate in the main hall. Amaka's shoulders slumped, and she seemed to shrink before Chinaza's eyes. "I know it's wrong," she whispered, "but I had no choice. I had to make ends meet, and it was the only way." Chinaza's grip on the container tightened, her mind racing with the consequences of Amaka's actions. She knew she had to expose the truth, but a part of her hesitated. unsure of the repercussions. Just as Chinaza was about to confront Amaka further, a loud crash echoed from the main hall. The music screeched to a halt, and the room fell silent. Chinaza's eyes darted toward the commotion, and she saw Chukwuemeka's uncle, the notorious food critic, stumbling towards the kitchen. "What's going on here?" he thundered, his face red with rage. "I demand to know what's in this abomination you call food." Amaka's eyes widened in terror as Chinaza held up the container, the truth finally out. The room erupted into chaos, with guests screaming and running for the exits. Chukwuemeka and Naoma rushed into the kitchen, their faces pale with shock. "What's happening?" Chukwuemeka asked, his voice shaking. But before anyone could respond, Chinaza's phone buzzed. She glanced down to see a text from an unknown number. "Meet me outside if you want the full story." Chinaza's heart raced as she hesitated, unsure of what to do next. But something about the message resonated with her. She knew she had to uncover the truth, no matter how deep it went. Chinaza's curiosity got the better of her, and she excused herself from the chaos in the kitchen. She made her way through the crowds of panicked guests and stepped out into the cool night air. The parking lot was dimly lit, but she spotted a figure leaning against a car, shrouded in shadows. As she approached, the figure stepped forward, revealing a woman with a scar above her left eyebrow. "Who are you?" Chinaza asked, her instincts on high alert. "My name is Ngozi," the woman replied, her voice low and husky. "And I know all about Amaka's secrets." Chinaza's eyes narrowed. "What do you mean?" Ngozi smiled, a mischievous glint in her eye. "Amaka's not the only one with secrets. There's a whole network of people involved, and it goes far beyond just urine in the food." Chinaza's mind reeled as Ngozi began to reveal a web of deceit and corruption that went all the way to the top of the culinary world. She listened, entranced, as the truth began to unravel.